What's up, guys? Mad Max here. This is my new Talaria Sting R, and today, oh boy, don't know if I can balance here. We're gonna install some parts. Stay tuned. Okay, so what do I have to install today? Well, I have a taillight with integrated turn signals. I have some new brake pads, and I have a road legal light kit from Built E-Bikes. What this is it adds turn signals, a brake light, and a quote-unquote high beam. So what it does is, it has these little LED strips that wrap around the forks in the front. It turns this into the high beam, which, I mean, I'll just leave it on all the time because it's essentially a low beam. And it gives you an actual taillight instead of this running light that Talaria puts on there from the factory, which to me makes 0 sense. I don't know why you don't have a brake light in there, but that's how they design it. So what's included in the kit is, as you can see, this is one of the turn signal / running lights. This is your wiring kit. This is the bracket, and they also give you this little strip in here that is your brake light and turn signal for the back. I don't want to use that. I think it's going to look stupid, but I think this is going to look way better. So I will start disassembling for that. The other thing you see on here are some Trucker Co. sintered metallic pads. I had Shimano pads on this with the big, I think they were MO3Cs. They had a big heat sink. So you can see I put the stock ones back in the back, and I still have the Shimanos in the front. They squeaked really bad. I don't know if it's because of how I bedded them, but I tried sanding them and it didn't work. And I tried after sanding them to rebed them and it just didn't work out. So we're gonna try out these pads and hopefully they work a lot better and they don't squeak, which is huge on an electric bike because that's the only thing you hear. So, as I said, gonna do this last, gonna start off with the lights. Okay, so I have this kit laid out on the bike here. These are the turn signals I was talking about. This is your LED strip for the brake light and rear turn signals. There's this adapter here. I'm assuming for the aftermarket brake switch if you end up running a different master cylinder that doesn't have a mountain bike type brake switch. And this little guy, which I have no idea what this little guy does. So yeah, you have a nice little thingamabobber right back here that you put your brake and turn signal on if you are using their LED strip. And then your turn signal, horn, and high beam switch, which we are going to mount right here. We're going to move this over, and we're going to get rid of this horn switch that you can see down here. I just feel like having this here makes a lot more sense. And this also splits wide open, so we can get that on. So I guess let's start off by taking some stuff off and putting this turn signal switch on. And then we'll continue by taking out the battery and whatnot to get a little bit deeper into this. Okay, so first off, we are going to start by loosening up some of these wires with these rubber clips that were included from the factory, which I'm obviously going to take off and reuse once we're all done. And then we're going to loosen up this Allen key right here, which holds on the horn button. And we are going to take that off. We're going to take off the horn button and put it on the stock parts pile, aka the garbage. So first things first, we're going to find out which one is the horn. So on a Talaria, it is red. We already have this loosened up. I don't know why it's not coming off. Might have a second one, but let me fiddle with this off camera and see if I can get this off. Okay, upon further examination, you have to take off the grip in order to take off this stupid horn switch. The display for the Talaria, though, does split open and is designed to split open. There is a little screw right there. You take that out, and this comes right off, and then you can move it right over. As for this, I gotta take off the end here, slide the grip off, slide the horn off, and then slide on the turn signal kit and reverse the process. Okay, so grip off. Big trick for taking these off if you've never done it before. which I hope that most of you have done this before, get some Windex in there. Roll up the tip there, spray some Windex in on both ends, and start working it loose, and the Windex will act as a lubricant and help you slide this off. When you put it back on, same thing, spray this thing down with Windex, slide it on, let it dry, and the grip will be on there. Try not to use anything with wax in it because then it might not grip as well. So that's why I highly recommend Windex or some other sort of glass cleaner that does not contain any kind of rain repellent, so that when it dries, it's on there again. But now that we have that off, this stupid switch can come right off. And this can, as I said, go in the stock parts pile and never be used again. Okay, now that everything's apart, we can mount the switch, which just has 2 Phillips head screws right on the bottom there. So what you do is slide it in where you want it, tighten up the 2 Phillips head screws on the bottom, and then your switch is in place. And as you can see, there's a massive wiring harness attached to this. We'll get to that. But first, I want to get this switch on, get the grip back on, get it all back together. Okay, now that that's done, we're going to take some window cleaner there. We're gonna spray some window cleaner in there, which this is really difficult to do one-handed here. And this should just slide right on. And if you are doing this and following along at home, you'll remember how hard this was to get off. And that's the difference between lube and no lube. Now, the one thing I do want to make sure of, I want to make sure that the grips are lined up the way they were from the factory, which appears to be that these are a little too far in. So yeah, just make sure that the grips are in the correct position here, which we had Talaria facing up like that. We'll just squeeze that in a little bit there. Make sure all the knurling lines up nice so it doesn't look all crooked on there, and then put your end cap back on right there. All right, next step. We need to remove the battery. And I'm trying to do this very carefully because it's on a stand, and I don't want to knock the stand over or knock the bike off the stand. But unplug your battery, get this heavy thing off. Oh, and she's out. Now that the battery's out, we're gonna take out this little key panel, and I am probably gonna take off the cover as well as taking off the rear seat, just so I have access to everything really nicely and it's easy to work on. So, you know, a bunch of Allen keys to pull these out. And that's kind of it. Okay, well, I'm a big dummy. You take off 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you can access all these bolts that you just watched me struggle with. And then the whole seat and taillight assembly comes off. There is one plug. This is your plug right here for your brake light. But now that we've got all this wiring exposed, and we can get to everything here, I guess it's time to start wiring. Okay, after much fiddling, I'm not exactly happy with this, and hopefully I can figure out a better solution. But what you need to do with a Talaria Sting is add this little magnetic sensor. Now, when you pull on this, I don't know if you can see that glow in the background. That's the LED that they include with it lighting up. Basically what you have to do is you have to double side tape on this little magnet, double side tape on the sensor, and then as soon as the magnet moves away from it, it turns on. Doesn't look great, but it is what it is. I do want brake lights because I feel like it's a safety issue on the road. So that is what it is. That plugs into your orange wire. What you do is you take the Y harness here, you unplug the headlight, you plug the bike side into this harness here, you plug the headlight back in. This is your turn signal. It goes to the, if I can find it, the blue plug right here. And then there's a green plug that goes to the taillight. We'll deal with the taillight later. The first thing I want to do is plug in the turn signals and get those mounted. As you can also see, I have loosely ran this wire here, which will come around and go in there. I'll zip tie it up so it's kind of out of the way. And also, as I said, I unplugged the horn switch, which you can see flapping around there. That's going to come out. We're going to tuck that in there, and then we're going to figure out how to get the horn working. It appears that it works off this. So let me plug in the blue to the blue, and we'll get some working turn signals. And then we're going to test, and I'm going to show you how to mount up these turn signals. Okay, as you can see, I have these turn signals hanging. I stuck a little piece of masking tape on, just labeling them, just in case, because I did try them out earlier. But just to show you, left side, and then right side. So where I'm going to end up mounting them, because I like how it goes away, I'm going to end up mounting them like this. And the reason why I'm going to leave them blinking while I'm zip tying this on is so I know what direction the sequential goes. So it doesn't go like that on the left and the opposite on the right. So we're going to do that like that. Unfortunately, again, two-handed operation here. One hand on the camera, one hand on that, so can't quite do it. But let me do this off camera. What I'm going to try and do is line up this wire in the back so that it's as out of the way and inconspicuous as possible. Okay, so of course I forgot to take the 3M double-sided tape backing off before I put these on. It is what it is. They'll stay in place. If I have to, I'll cut the zip tie and figure out a way to put another one in there. I'm not sweating it right now. It seems like it'll stay there pretty securely. Just to show you guys what it looks like. So that is headlights on, headlights off, headlights on, turn signal, turn signal. And then if you have them off, so definitely feels a lot safer. Now I'll show you the LED in the back real quick. That guy will turn on to running light there. Brake light, which is not so hot. So it doesn't turn off that section of LED, so it's kind of difficult to see it. See, like, that's a lot better to see. So what I'm going to do is this is going to go directly in the trash, and I'm going to wire up a regular motorcycle light, which I showed you guys a little bit earlier. It's this guy right here. So it's going to take some soldering and whatnot. The first thing that I want to do is get this wired up, figure out what colors are what. And then once I do that and have this thing all soldered up and ready to go, I'm going to make a bracket to mount it on the bottom of the seat and tuck all this wiring in, get the horn working, and we're good to go. Okay, so you can see there's 5 wire colors here. Black is obviously ground. Red is brake. White is running. Green is left, and yellow is right. Okay, got everything plugged in, and now it's time to try out my new light before I fab up a mount. So, that works. It's not flashing in person, I promise. Yep. Brake light works. I guess we're going to be changing the turn signal relay, which is this bad boy right here. We need one that stays on a little bit longer so that that works properly. Just so you guys can see here. Because when you power this constantly, it goes doop, 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 doop. I mean, you can kind of tell what it's supposed to do. So, I am going to change this turn signal relay. I guess I'm going to be bringing the soldering iron out here for that one. Luckily, this included a different turn signal relay, so hopefully that fixes the issue. If not, I guess I'm going to have to live with it. Okay, so I have a relay here that... I think there's actually a little adjustment. You see that little screw there? I think I can actually adjust that. But let me show you what it looks like with the relay now where it doesn't have hyper flash. And even with light on, no hyper flash. And we'll do other side. And break. Okay, for you Talaria Sting guys, you have 2 wires that go to the horn, and you have 1 wire from the harness of the new EMX kit. So, unplug the pale green one, right there, tape it up, plug in the dark green one, and the black wire from the EMX kit. So, black wire from the EMX kit, dark green wire hooked up, and works perfect. Okay, so I made a little piece of plastic that I painted black so you wouldn't see the Sharpie that I used. I took the studs, you can kind of see them there. I took them out of the stock light and put them in, and then I bolted in the light to the bracket, and now the bracket will bolt onto the bottom of the seat. And then we can start running the wiring to run this rear light and then put this thing back together and get this rat's nest tucked underneath the keyhole and get it all back together. Okay, seat's back on. I ran the line right along the original brake line. I did not take that out. I just left it in there for now. I could take it out in the future, but I probably won't until... I maybe do an aftermarket controller. But let's not talk about that right now because that's not important. What's important right now is that I have all the wiring done. I am going to drop the battery back in, test everything, and then get this mess tucked underneath the key area and battery cover, and it's all done. Okay, key is on. Let's test everything one last time. We got lights in the front. We have a light in the back. And just so you guys can see, I'm telling you, it does not blink in person. But it doesn't get that much brighter. I'm a little upset about that. And finally, all works. Now to get that mess tucked all in there. Oh, that's going to take a little while. Right now, battery cover should fit real nice. All right, guys, so that's it. Got the whole lights installed with a couple little hiccups, but nothing really crazy. Kit's not quite as straightforward as I would like, but pretty good considering it's a universal kit. Hopefully somebody comes out with a Talaria specific kit where it just plugs into the brake wires and it's much easier to wire in, but you know, is what it is. Works pretty good. Well, anyway, gonna go take this thing for a quick spin just to see how it looks at night, and thanks for watching.